can we start?
Start these nuts, Richard.
Not seriously though, because it's not plugged in.
Yeah, seriously, start the nuts.
Roasted or grilled?
Always roasted.
Yeah, of course. You know those nuts from the carts are really good.
Oh yeah.
No pause. All play.
They smell better than they taste, but.
Yes, no, that's true. That and popcorn.
You don't hear that about nuts a lot.
Popcorn has the same effect. It smells very good. It tastes like styrofoam.
Fact.
Yeah.
I bet. Let's get a broski.
That's a nice song. It's really good.
You gotta sway, you gotta.
Okay.
I feel like this is our guest initiation.
If you don't bop with us, you can't talk with us. You know what I'm saying?
I can't dance, so I'd be scared. Especially like if it's like recorded, I really can't dance. So it's just so smooth. Nah, stop. I can do like a simple, like the Cupid shuffle. I eat that up. But if you're asking me to do like some Nigerian footwork, well then God forgive me. I can't do that.
You gotta go to Richard for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's just too. You gotta be fast. You gotta be fast.
I bet. Let's get her, bro.
You know, welcome back, Club Noir.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, we got a special guest today.
Hi, special
The
guest.
main man, Stan.
Yeah, I'm the special guest. Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Well, yeah. Hello. My name is Stanley. I am the special guest for today. You know, but giving my opinions about certain stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Of course.
You know, back again. I'm the main man, Rich.
Diamond.
I'm James. What's up, y'all?
And yeah. So Jimmy, you know, what we get into this today, bro? What we getting into
What
today?
we about to dive into?
We're gonna dive into it. You know.
Real quick, you know, I want to, spend some time. First off, some people have been asking us about the intro and outro song, so you can look up Caliber on Spotify. Sicta, SICTA, that's the album where the songs came from.
Link will be in the description below. Of course,
will.
as always. You know the vibes.
Supporting our people. You know, and speaking about our people, just kind of want to take a bit of time to, talk about, Black History Month, just to pay a little homage. It's just like, it's crazy because, time be flying and, we're just like, yo, we're just trying out here, make some good content, spread some love to people. It's just like, oh, snap, it's February. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think, that's actually, really good about our topic today. Thanks to Stan the Man.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Black art.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I got a shout out to my cousin. Sorry, not sorry. What I'm saying.
Don't be sorry.
It's my cousin goes to Tuskegee. Funny you mentioned enough HBCU Black History Month.
Like the Tuskegee Airmen.
The parallels. Yeah. So big shout out Xavier.
Hey.
Right. But yeah, let's get into it.
Word. Hold on.
Just real quick, I just wanted to say that, since we're talking about Black art, I just wanted to preface this that art in general has a special place in my heart because of where I went to high school and stuff, and that's where I created art, and that's when I was exposed to it the most. So that's why I decided to bring this topic up, because that's something I can really talk about. That's something I hold close.
But nah, for real, getting into, talking about, Black art, Black media, how it's kind of what is it a representation of what's happening, or are people basically trying to overrepresent a certain aspect and stuff like that? So, just firstly, just to get on the same page, Black art itself, how do you think you would define it,
It's so ambiguous, which is why I'm curious to learn more about. It's for today's topic, because I still don't know the agenda. Where are we gonna be diving into specifically? Because honestly, I feel like art itself is ambiguous, and then when you add nothing when it's black, black is itself ambiguous as well. So it's two ambiguous things. With, of course, we can find some kind of common ground, but when you add art on top of it, it's a completely different parallel. So.
Well, I mean, to me, Black art is just any art made by a person of color. So I feel like, well, not personal, just a black person, because person of color can be there, but like a black person. And black, as you said, is subjective, ambiguous, but I feel like we all pretty much understand what black is to an extent. When you get to that gray area, then we can have that discussion, but black is black. Like and let me know if I'm tripping, if I'm speaking a little too much. But I feel like we all know what black is, you know. Whoever that person is, when they make art, any type of art, could be TV shows, could be visual art, could be photography, could be a podcast. That is black art, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that is what black art is to me, and we can talk about different artists in this field and just talk about it. Yeah.
I actually want to shout out my friend Kiana. She's an amazing painter. Okay, I love it. I'll do something a little later for her, but.
Link in the description
Link
below.
in the
You know the
description.
vibes. You know the
Most
vibes.
definitely.
Big shout out, you know.
She doesn't do commission though. She does it because she loves to.
Wait, so she does work because she wants to do it?
Yeah.
You love hobbies.
Yeah, she used to
It's
do
healthy to have
commission and then she didn't.
Genuine
she was like,
intentions it's what makes things.
Yeah.
That is art. Your genuine emotions reflected onto medium, you know.
That's me with my music, honestly.
Hey, come on now, talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
No, I
Sorry, that's one time.
That's like you put so much energy into.
so does he.
Because he was referring to
Bane's out here popping.
the goal. He was out here like that. Talking about LeBron as he should, you know. That's the goal. Greatest of all time.
But yeah, I definitely agree with that. You know, I feel like, you know, I feel like, you know, of course, to a certain extent, it's like, all right, babe, we can kind of, people can kind of maybe have their own, you know, specific inclusions and exclusions, but for the most part, we can kind of understand the umbrella that we're all going to be like, you know, using to get through this rain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With both how you have, you know, define like, you know, with black and art. And so I was just kind of wondering, like, when it comes to that, like, so like, let's say like in terms of a certain like genre, or like, let's say like a new type of medium were to come out, right? Do you think it would be about like whether it's popularized or started by like a black person or not? You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Like,
so what do you mean?
Yeah,
let's say like the genre of let's say it's something like rock, right? Rock is something that started from black people, right? Over time though,
Became a
the
white
amount of
dominated
people,
space,
yeah,
yeah.
it became a like white dominated space. So like, many people think rock and be like, oh, white, but it's just like, still kind of black, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, so like, you know, it's just kind of like where do you think like things fall in terms of like popularization versus like initiation?
So are you asking me to be considered black art, does it have to be started by a black person or popularized by a black?
Yeah, basically, or more so just kind of like what, like more, I guess more open ended. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, in terms of like started or popularized, and like at what point does it like become something like black or not? You see what I'm saying?
Well, I think,
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Richard, because I'm trying to see.
me personally, I think it's me based off like intrinsic, right? So it's like if it's intrinsically created by black people, I'm going to assume that that's black, right? I'm gonna associate that as black. However, if white people come along and destroy rock, for example, right? I feel like Elvis Presley, for example, right? How he just literally just like stole a bunch of artists and like took their credit and like claimed that as his own and like pretty much destroy that. I'm no longer classifying that as a black, I guess, culture or like a medium.
Yes.
So that to me, could be art, but is it black art? No more because it's been tainted.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I understand that.
And then it's like, well, I think so. It's like, I can't think of it right now, but like, let's say like if black people were to like adapt something that isn't intrinsically black, then adapt it and make it their own. Is that black art? I think so.
That's fair.
So do you think it goes hand in hand between?
Yeah. I don't know about hand in hand. I don't know that that's terminology I would use, but I think it's based. I can't create like a blanket term or umbrella term for everything. I think it's dependent upon what we're talking about. So you have to be rock. Yeah. Back then it was for black artists who participate within rock. Yes, that's a black culture. However, for those who aren't black and create their own, I guess, alternate paths of it, that's theirs. Right? Still pay homage and understand where it comes from and pay respect. Don't be like, oh well,
I started this.
Like, chill.
If you're not Soulja Boy, you want the first to do it.
Drake? Like,
He was the first to do a lot.
He was actually the
And he has a lot of receipts
And I
for
think
like
that's-
everything.
That's like the best part.
And that's the like it'd be different if like I started it, all right, no proof. But no, he has the
keeps
proof.
the
Like that whole
receipts,
money
like,
challenge where it's like I started it first. All right, show me. So and then he has it. I'm like, all right.
And honestly, that's like the
Mad
best part when I
respect.
see it on social media because someone can really be like, I don't know, they throw a grape across the room and someone like catches it in their mouth. You'd be like, nah, but I did that first. And I was just like, bro,
Did you
what?
really?
Did you really?
But Soldier Boy has the receipt, so you can't even like.
That'd be the best part, yeah.
Soldier Boy deserves a lot of respect. I feel like that's what I'm talking about. That's an artist that deserves his flowers, truly. That's all.
No, facts. He definitely he started a lot of trends.
He started a
did-
lot.
he did a
I mean,
lot for them.
he's one of the first big YouTube like rappers. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
to blow off from the internet for real. That's Soldier Boy. Crank that.
With the whole
Yeah, like, especially with like dances.
I used to, but time out. Just
he is TikTok.
I'm not gonna disclose it here, but y'all should all look up the definition of that song.
What? So
Yep.
crank
Crank
that.
that.
Crank that. All right. Crank that, Soldier Boy. What could that mean? Said you cranking. Like what would crank mean? Like I know a movie name like by the name of Crank. It means
I know
crack.
cranking
but, like,
TVs. You know, they used to have to use that in the back of the day for energy.
Crank.
Google it in your own time, right?
I'm gonna Google it.
Perfectly when no one's around. But,
Okay.
but yeah, what's your definition? You know, based on like,
Yeah, so from what I'm understanding of the question, because I'm still a little lost, but from what I'm understanding of it is, let's say, for example, rock. It was started by black people, but it's no longer considered a black medium, I'd say. Then is it still considered? I mean, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, to be considered black art, you just have to be created by a black person. So I don't think it matters if it's in a white-dominated space, because most spaces nowadays are white-dominated anyways,
Like in-
or,
yeah, like
or
in
like
Wisconsin,
started by black people, taken over by white people. Like it doesn't really matter as long as it's created by a person who is black, then it's still black art. If I'm understanding the question correctly.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, like for example, we can like black people can some black person in Korea right now can make the hottest K-pop joint ever, you know, and we can't be like that's not black art because it's like in a Korean dominated space. So like it's definitely like as long as you make it, then it's black art. Period. It doesn't matter like what it
You
is.
just gotta season it, you know.
You know, that would be fire though. You know, designers on a K-pop song.
Really?
Say,
Yeah.
What does he say?
No, it's in
Snoop Dogg
English.
make it on a K-pop song.
Yeah, it's a-
Snoop Dogg is everywhere, bro.
It's in English. It's called Applejacks, I think, and it's like with the one of the what's the hottest band out? The K-pop
BTS?
band. I think it's with BTS, and he has like since he's already hard to understand in English, it kind of like makes sense in Korean. So it's like it's just perfect.
You should have started with that.
Kind of works.
Oh, that's funny.
But speaking about that Naruto.
Wow, what was that?
Yeah.
Naruto? Like what?
Speaking about that hard to understand thing, that brings you to something so important. Cause like y'all ever notice how like there's like a certain inconsistency with how people like choose to like receive like black art, especially in this case like we're talking about like rap, right? Where people love to definitely like overuse the word like the phrase mumble rap for any time it's like, you know, like there'll be a black person that will speak fast. And many times they don't even have to use slang. You're like, oh, it's just mumble rap. It's just automatically trash. But like, y'all ever notice the inconsistency when like literally someone like Eminem, who by many people is literally considered like a god of rap, and he would speak very fast, and it's just like,
Twista, Busta Rhymes, like, have you never, you know?
word. It's just like,
I feel like that has to do with a lot of like, you know, like a lot of older people, because I've never seen a lot. If it comes from a white point of view, I think it has like a smidge to do with racism. But when it comes from an older person's perspective, I think they just really discredit like, it's like they're apprehensive of like evolution of change. Yeah, so like they call anything past like 2012 like mumble rap, but not truly understanding that a lot of the mumble is dialects, accents. You know, a lot of rappers aren't coming from the East or West anymore. They're coming from Memphis. They're coming from Florida. You know what I'm saying? They're coming from Tennessee. Like, there's a lot of twang in a lot of, like, for example, Annalie Choppa or Moneybagg Yo. You know, they have a very heavy accent. And some words are harder to, if you're from New York at least, some words that they say are hard to understand. And that's simply due to their twang. Like, they're from the country. But some people like to call that mumble rap. But it's not. It's just because you can't understand a dialect doesn't necessarily mean they're mumbling. You know, and the whole term mumble rap in general started in 2016 with like the boom of like SoundCloud rappers. And it just at the end of the day was used to discredit black men, like, or just like the black rappers at the time. Because Uzi was blowing up in 2016, Lil Yachty, and like 21 Savage. They were like the poster boys for mumble rap. But if you listen to all their songs at that era, it was very much like intelligent. Like, you can understand what they're saying. It's not like they're blah, blah, blah. Like, you can understand. Like, I feel like, oh man, the term mumble rap bothers me a lot because people love to say, like, I mentioned this earlier, but again, I'm in this hip hop class this semester, and you know, there's a lot of older folks in it. You know, some in their 30s, some in their 40s, and they call anything that's before Tupac real rap. Like, that's that gutter, that's that real. You know, he said, I'll never forget, our professor asked us, what's rap to you? And the guy said, rap is that real. What does that mean? The realest real that you can get is that gutter, the grind. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Even then, but I feel like too, like you saying it doesn't make sense. That terminology in, I guess, what's the word? Definition could be art itself. Like, that terminology where it's like, oh, that real, that grind, that gutter. It's like, we have our common phrases now. Maybe that's their common phrases for their times.
And I don't mind that, but when it's used to discredit our generation, I have a problem with it because, again, like, it's a lot of these terms, that real, that grime, that gutter, is used to discredit our generation. Like, we don't have that real, that grime, that gutter. Like, Pooh Shiesty shot up. Like he shot someone in a club. Like, and he said he don't need security. And you're telling me that man isn't grime? Like, it's just like these words.
Sorry, that's just hilarious. Like, you mean he's not a bad person?
like you're telling me that he said he don't need no.
You really trying to test him?
He said he don't need no security in the club. He meant it. But it's just like, the thing is, a lot of these things are words and terms are used to discredit people our generation. And it's just like, no, give it a listen. Actually, like, listen to it. Give it some time, because the production is a lot better than back then. And it's a lot more versatile, period. I'd say that, because back then, it would be like the same beats produced by Dr. Dre and the guy who looks like Putin, like the producer who made the. He's like the Still Dre. What's it? Brum 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 brum. You know the guy.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
If you know, it's the guy. He looks like Putin. Like,
in my head.
no, it's like the song goes brum 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 brum.
That'll make you crip walking.
Six, bum along the block, turn the block.
Oh my goodness, I know exactly.
Them corners and them lolos, girl. Still, time to perfect the beat, and I'm still got love for the street. Is the DRE? You know that song?
I know exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about and
My
who
dad
you're
told
talking
me
about.
I can't get
And I
any-
literally
his name is.
have like a.
But yeah, the beats back then were made by like two people. So like now, rap is a lot more versatile. I hate the term mumble rap. It's just used to discredit our generation. That's my overall points on it.
I can honestly say I do use it sometimes. Not for like everybody, but it's like for the rappers where it's like, okay, one, they're rapping fast, and then I'm actually listening and I'm trying to understand them, but it's like they're actually not saying anything, and it just be like.
But what does that mean though? What do you mean they're not saying anything?
Like
Like
they're
of
literally
substance
not
or like
saying
literally just mumbling?
One of substance, two of mumble. Like there will be some people who'll be on their track or whatever, and they'll be like, let's say they'll do like an interview or something like that, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I didn't say nothing. I was just like, It's like they literally admit that they were mumbling.
Well, that's 6ix9ine. I feel like he's the exception.
That too,
He was on the interview. He
yeah.
was like, "Foo got that wet, got that skis, got that." Like, he's like, that's nothing. I'm like, well, he's the exception, and he's not really part of like black art. So like,
Yeah, but no, there are some black
But
artists
even like
that
Playboy
actually
Cardi's
are.
meant to be saying like.
but Playboy Party is such a genius. Like,
But hear me out. Here's my critique, right? Now with mumbling rap, I do have critiques on mumbling rap, but I feel like a lot of people, we see people do this where it's like they'll have a critique that's actually valid, but then feel ashamed of admitting that, and then try to associate other things to make them sound like
They're probably palatable.
more palatable, but it's actually 10 times worse. Like my critique is that to a lot of old people is that they feel like people aren't paying homage to the culture behind them. Like for them, you mentioned that we're more versatile, we have beats, more producers. That's a lot in part to the people being more, I guess, what's the word? Pioneers to the rap culture. It's like they had the same beats back then because you only had one person who had a studio. Like,
they're was only
using
one
the beats
studio
from
in
those
South
Yeah,
LA.
very few studios. Very
There was
few
only that
engineers,
one
very few
studio in
producers.
Brooklyn that everyone had to go to. They had to share.
And not only that, like,
They're still sampling it too, so it's like, yeah.
and even I don't know, it was this interview with like Pharrell and stuff, and it was like, they just mentioned how like we couldn't rap back then, and it was all like in schools, like very small places because no internet, no place, and also it wasn't accepted culturally. The reason why rap
that's
blew
true.
up was because white people with money started investing into doing rap, and it became a global stream. Well, not to say not to say like that's the reason, but like it's a catalyst.
I mean, we are the power, basically.
I mean, we are.
Because even with their,
Public
because like
access.
even at that time, like yeah, at a certain point, you know, like it's helpful to have like you know like certain tools, labels, and stuff like that. But like, we're the streams,
We are.
and so it's just like
Actually, no. Well, yes and no. Well,
How in what regard are we not the streams?
Like, well, okay, like streams and like feel like yes, streams, but for example, like okay, I'm talking about more in terms of like back then. So like as it grows up to
yeah.
So like
that's what, I was
like
talking
CDs?
about like now, just in
Okay,
terms because
yeah.
like if we're talking about like let's say like we were to look at like the fan base of like let's say Kendrick Lamar. I'm pretty sure that is like 99% black people.
You'd
You
be
know what I'm saying?
surprised. It's actually a lot more. A lot white people. I'm not saying
70,
more.
70, 30.
Well, yeah. I was exaggerating, but like you see what I'm saying. Like in terms of like majority, it's like more than likely us. You know, like because we can understanding, being able to relate. And
We gonna
stuff
be
like
alright
that.
hit different when Donald Trump won presidency. I told you that. It hit 100 million, boom, the moment
No,
he won.
but
It was on every show.
It's
It
honestly-
was in every movie.
But on a serious note, like a lot of it is white people, and like I think that's often overlooked because we live in these spaces. So it's like
Right.
I don't know if y'all ever seen it, but my friends who go to PWIs, they talk to me. It's like, bro, white people love rap. Like and not say they understand it because they don't. They a lot of them can't understand it because it takes that that culture and that intrinsic blackness which they don't have and never could have. But in terms of how things hit mainstream and how things get dispersed, right? Back then, rap was so hard and so much. Like if you was a rapper, you had so much recognition because it was hard. They literally built.
Very vulgar.
People weren't taught things in school. Like they had to literally, okay, I gotta read this. I gotta get my double entendre, triple entendres. I gotta get my acumen up. I gotta learn more. So I do understand some part as to the kind of, I guess, shame or disapproval of mumble rap and other new rappers nowadays because back then it took a lot of work to become a rapper. Not to say it doesn't take a lot of work now, but I do think from that sentiment of like knowing that people were literally busting their behinds to get their vocabulary up, to get their diction up.
MC
to
Hammer
put
said
pen
I
to
like
paper.
big butts. Like I don't think that the vocabulary was expansive.
I'm not talking about MC Hammer. I'm talking about specifically for those critiques and those in the niche for talking about Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z, right? Now, I don't know if y'all repeat on the album sales, like the mainstream's basic songs get the most clout. But if y'all listen like all track lists, not the hits, they be spending some heat, like respectfully, like.
Well, yeah, that's another thing too, because literally the ones that are like the most real that end up not getting that as much mainstream is because like how you're talking about, like how a lot of those people then can't relate, right? And so it's just like that's like because like literally because even we could talk about certain like rap songs, we could look at like the breakdowns of like which one like ends up going mainstream and which one like which one's going mainstream and which ends up kind of like just being like kind of like at a average in terms of like the rest of like the album. It's like like a lot of the ones that really get into like you know like the real black experience and stuff like that. Yeah, they aren't doing well. That's like how you talk about because like you know just when you know like when there's a lot of like white people playing it, it's like yeah. So the ones that are getting more palatable, you know, a lot more. Honestly, many times just more kumbaya. Yeah, they get the streams.
Like,
so, yeah.
like Run DMC, Red Alert, like a lot of people they used to spit off the fly, and it was way more work and ethic and just see. And another thing too, back then you recorded and you messed up. Tough luck, like that was it. And I feel like a lot of it, and personally, what I think is why I like listening to Kendrick and J. Cole because they met rappers before them. I feel like I want to see more people be like, yo, honestly, I'm doing this. And of course, you know, own it. Like, respect your craft. But, you know, I guess it's like an argument for a lot of people to agree to disagree. But me personally, I like when artists nowadays, specifically black artists, pay homage because it was extremely difficult and hard. I know it's hard now. I'm not saying it's easy at all. But it is by tenfold dealing with how racism was back then. Of course, it still happen now, but to the extent, to the degree, and also not having this internet, right? Mm-hmm. I do think there's some kind of disapproval. Now, to mumble rap to you people in your class, I can get down with. Like, I think art is art in its form, and it's right to discredit without listening or even truly trying to honor or see their point of view is foul. But personally, I like when people pay homage to the ones who came before, and I feel like as a black person, you just should. And I feel like that should be a tradition within black culture.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole, I respect when people pay homage. I get it. I feel a little iffy about that though, cause like, I feel like you should only truly pay homage or pay your respects is when you're not part of like said culture. I like, cause like I get it that like everyone has to pay their due respects, but at a certain point, like in 2050, does like this new rapper have to pay respect to LL Cool J? Like, that's my question. Like, it's a genuine thing, cause for how long are we gonna continue paying respects? Like, if you're part of this culture, like, do your part for it and benefit it. I don't know. Like, if you're an outsider, yes, I feel like you have to pay your respects. But if you are part of it, I don't know. I think just being in it is paying your respects. You know, being free. Is just,
I think that's valid. You know, like being basically saying me keeping the tradition.
Exactly.
Is as long as, of course, doing it, you know, with the integrity and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. If you're creating rap because you love the art of rap, then I feel like you're paying respects to those before you who did the same thing. Right. Now, if you're an outsider, like let's say Post Malone, Lil Dicky, making rap music to further your career, I feel like you definitely need to pay some respect and be like, hey, these are the people who made rap popular. Now I can, because I don't know if I can, you know, make a little, real quick, just a little side tangent.
Yeah. Outside
All right, yeah. I feel like outsiders like that, like especially Lil Dicky, I feel like it's low-key disrespectful. Like he was a rapper only so he could get his popularity up to create his show, you know, and which is, I ain't gonna hold, it's a good show, but it's just like, I feel like that's low-key disrespectful. Just like you have this like a predominantly black medium, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna just use it as a means. I mean, it's like a stepping stone, and like whatchamacallit, Post Malone also, you said like, oh, if I want to listen to real music, I'll listen to country instead. Like, it's just a platform to like
just advance
jump
yourself.
off. Exactly.
Yeah,
you're not really appreciating.
Like,
it's okay,
like,
truly, if you want to like you want to just like divert to something else. Like, all right, I did my rap, I liked it, I released this album, that's cool, I want to do this now. That's completely fine. But if you're just using it as a stepping stone for popularity, it's so disrespectful.
And admitting to it.
Which
Like,
is so like you're like, what's bold is like, oh yeah, I created this art form, and I don't even think it's that good of an art form. Like, that's just so disrespectful. How are you gonna say, if I want to listen to real music, I'll listen to country? I'm tired of the water park music. Country's water park music. If you go to a water park, all you hear is country music. That's what it is to me.
I feel like I hear pop when I go to water parks.
Really? No, every time I went to a water park, it was just straight up country. I heard more Blake Shelton in a water park.
Song, but then they put like a white girl beat. You'd be like, oh, okay. Like,
I guess the closest thing we'll get is Old Town Road.
Old Town Road is iconic, and it deserves a whole just paper on its own.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a setup because he put out Old Town Road and then he went a totally different direction.
What you mean, bro?
No, that was a setup.
The versatility of a black artist, nah, man.
No. That's not what I mean. You could be versatile, but he gave us one image and he gave us like this picture perfect image that was like, okay, we vibe with this. But then if you look at every other video that he made after that, I know I'm not gonna include what was that one where he had
Sky Jackson? Oh, Panini?
Yeah. That was cool. You saw the transition, but then every other video after that, I was just like.
I mean, to be honest, though, hear me out. For a black, especially black artist.
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be some form of palatability going into it because a lot of people have to. Just to get blow up.
I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm just that was drastic.
He gave us that. But to be honest, like for example. I don't know if y'all peeped, but Old Town Road hit numbers.
No,
well, I mean, we know that. We know it was the longest number one ever.
Once people found out he was black, they was like, whoa, there, bucko.
Y'all ain't know he was black by the time of his voice. He was like, singing in my bladder.
No, I can tell he was black.
And
the gay part that threw people off. It was like, whoa, he likes men. Hold up. That was the one.
And that's reality is like
there was a whole war on Twitter about that.
Yeah,
people didn't know he was a black man and he was gay. He was like, whoa. Country music, who's
Black and gay? Whoa. What is that?
And literally, there was like a whole war on Twitter. It was like, yo, it was only good because it had country in it. And then Fam was just like, no, it was only good because it had rap in it.
And then
just
literally,
back and forth.
It was sad because his song wasn't considered. I don't know if it was like a Grammy, some award, but it only came
a country award.
It only came nominated, or I don't know if it got an award. I'm so sorry. I didn't do the R word.
I think you're talking
for this
about
episode.
so for Lil Nas X, the Old Town Road was originally on the country charts. And they took it off because it didn't have country elements, which whatever that means. Country has 808s now, so I don't want to hear.
And then Billy Ray Cyrus hopped on it and then got back on.
And it got back on the country in the Hot 100, but it makes no sense because it's like it's pretty much a country song.
It's to take my
horse to the Old Town Road.
Billy Ray Cyrus did not add country to that song, respectfully.
He didn't. He added 15 bars. Like
not a lot. Billy Ray Cyrus.
That was fire. That was a fire.
Okay, white man.
Like, not to run up Billy Ray now. You gotta chill out.
He was going crazy. Billy Ray was going. Yo, Miley Cyrus looking outside the window like, damn, that's accepting from the black culture. I want to be in that. He ain't have to work or nothing. He's like, Dad, let me in. I want to be part of that.
I want clout.
Yeah, so it's like I think that was crazy. But I think I don't know. Yeah, that's just honestly my critique.
Yeah, I don't think it was as because to be fair, it's his first ever music video,
like
and he wasn't even out the closet yet.
I'm gonna say that y'all didn't watch the other video.
I watched.
What?
I did.
I am this man's number one.
Okay.
I watched Lil Nas X is the GOAT in my eyes. I watched this. Is it a drastic change? But you have to understand why that change is. You know, firstly, when he released Old Town Road, he wasn't out. And secondly, this is his first music video. You, as an introductory piece, as an artist, to be Richard has a point. You have to be palatable for other people to accept you. Old Town Road was also like it wasn't marketed for kids, like truly, because he talks about drinking lean and hitting his wife.
Yeah,
it was a lot of kids who were dancing to that song as well. So you have to be. You have to be very slow with the introduction. You can't be out the gate.
I'm not saying it was bad. Like that was a great song, great video, everything. Like he did what he needed to do with that. But it's like once the videos came after and you started to see, his real art, his true form, what he wanted it to be like, I was like,
okay,
I still don't think he's at his final form, but I'm like, that was definitely like, that was just different.
In the Breakfast Club, he was
different
like,
than what I've seen before.
He was on the Breakfast Club?
Yeah, you should watch that, by the way.
I gotta watch that.
And he was like, I'm still figuring out who I am, and it's like and he's like, people need to understand, like, it's a discovery process. No one's gonna know the answer. People ask me who I am, like, no one's gonna know. It's like,
yeah,
I think, like,
he's our age too.
That's
insane to ask from a 20. He was like 19 when Old Town Road came out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really the pivot.
That's what took me by storm because I was like, that's it. Like,
all right, so now I'm understanding. It was just the fact that it was the change because you weren't expecting that, but it's not like you
he
disagree
had all his
with
clothes
it.
on
Right.
in the first one.
Right.
And then by the
And he kind of just wanted that.
by the fourth video, he was dancing on the
In
devil
those
the
2
dog,
years,
and I was
man, he was
I have no qualms with people doing that in their own video. That's their video. That's their platform.
Yeah.
My only qualms is when people do it on award shows, like VH1 or something. Like this is it literally says PG. Like
it's a family show.
It says PG. It says intended audience. Why are we doing men wearing very revealing clothes? Like and
that's their art.
My only thing is it's like if you know that's their platform, that's what they do.
That's like going to
Like,
MTV and being surprised.
Like, you literally have to tell them, don't do
like,
this song.
For example, though, like if you have, let's say, a tendency of, let's say, eating peanuts, and I have a house full of people allergic to peanuts, the thing that makes sense the most for me is to just say, don't enter my house, right? So it's just like, it doesn't matter whose platform it is when you know that this person does it, because then it's just like, there's no point of saying, come to my house, but be different. It's just like, why invite them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there is though, because like with for example, like
His
with
expressions are hilarious.
no, hear me out. For example, right? If you're doing an event,
Yes.
albeit charity, family stuff, like you introduce yourself in a certain way, and I think that is I think we're going on tangent, honestly.
But even then, charity and a music award, where
Are
you
way
celebrated
different.
for
Way
what
different.
you're doing already.
Yeah. I feel like that's like going up to Lil Uzi at the MTV Awards and be like, you know what? Leave the at home. Don't do that. Don't do that. I want you to just,
don't like those things.
give me a hot 15. I want bars.
But I feel
It's
like
kind of one of those things where it's like you
the
can't
same way-
please everybody.
But
Exactly.
But hear me out. Like, are y'all at least understanding something what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're
I
understanding.
understand.
It's just
Like,
I disagree.
Same way you like no, but same way you don't curse at certain events, right? You don't curse
Yeah.
because of who you're around.
Once again.
Right.
And do things. What I'm saying is that on the, I guess, orchestrator, not up to the people, but like orchestrator, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like when it's marketed to family,
But it's not though. Like I feel like when has anyone said the Oscars is a family event? Like it's just a thing for the people who.
Yeah, bro, but
Just because it's marketed
PG,
PG doesn't necessarily mean it's like parent guidance, right? Like PG stands for like
Yeah.
parent guidance. Like
And
it's
and I didn't want to cut you off, but I really just have to stand on like the whole point is just like if you're inviting them for the song where you know what it's about, especially because we know that many of these times these songs have explicit content. I don't care if you then want to go to the broadcast nectar and say we're gonna title it PG. That actually means the absolute least. When first off, we know that most people barely even adhere to those ratings, and so it's just like if I know that this is literally what you did, and I invited you for that reason.
Don't
like,
be surprised
knowing that
when
that
that
was your
happens.
content. I really can't have a complaint that you then decided to continue what I invited you for.
like if
most
it's made
artists
for
sell sex, so it's like.
and if it's
you're
made
gonna
for a
see
family
it.
audience. As a family, you have to understand that these artists are going to be, because most people know who's going to perform on the MTV or whatever awards, you know who's going to perform.
Yeah.
And if you know it's an artist who's certainly risque, like at the time Madonna was like considered risky, right? So if you know Madonna's going to perform, well then it's up to you to decide whether or not you want your child watching that or not. I feel like there's too much responsibility given to people outside the parents. Like it's just like you expect like Cardi B not to throw ass in an award show, you know, and be like, all right, my daughter shouldn't watch it. Like no, how about you just like it's not Cardi
I
B's
get
fault.
that,
Like,
but I'm talking about more in terms of like the owner of the show. That's all I'm saying.
But the owner of the
so I'm
show-
saying, so, like I know you're saying like
They knew it was gonna
they
be-
know
if
what's
there's-
gonna happen. Like it's not their responsibility at all to make things more palatable. Like
But I'm
more.
saying, I personally think that it's based off of more of a marketing as opposed to a.
But how is it marketed? It's not marketed towards like just because it's PG doesn't necessarily
No.
mean it's marketed towards family.
I'm saying like in marketing, so like they're doing it because this sells, just made a bunch of numbers. I'm gonna get people who have a bunch of numbers and do this and do the same thing.
So what's the problem with that?
Yeah, I don't get the issue then.
Yeah, I
if
don't
you're
see
saying
the
it's about the if you're saying it's about the owners, then it's gonna be
And the
owners
owners are
saying,
gonna-
"Here, use my platform to do what
Yeah.
you already do." So
That's what I'm
then-
saying. Like
so then what's the issue?
I'm saying it's like I wish it was a different rating.
Like, would you
But
prefer
why though?
them not
PG.
to put PG?
But the thing is,
Yeah.
but the thing is like
That's so different from what you started with.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Or you
the
could start
guidance,
with,
like the
"I wish
guidelines
they
for what
changed
PG
TV
stands
rating."
for is so loose. Like most things fall into this PG category, but the guidelines are so loose of what the term PG is. For PG-13, you have to show explicit nudity, explicit drugs, explicit blood, sex, etc. But for PG, it could be anything in between, and that's the thing. So if you wanted a different rating, well, someone has to get shot. So like I don't know. Like that's my thing. Is like.
I
It's
feel
just
like parental guidance
don't
is
know
there
about
for the parent to make their decision.
exactly that. The parental guidance is just to
Yeah.
guide your child in this experience. Like if they
Or
see
or
some,
guide them over.
like,
Would I or
like
would I
if Lil
not?
Nas kisses a guy on stage, the guidance as a parent, you have to give it to the child. You have to give that child some guidance.
Can't
You know,
My
like
mom used-
I'll be
my
like, you
mom
can't
would
watch
do that
this
to you
or
at
like
certain
the.
points.
all the
Like,
time.
yeah, you can't watch this. This is not for you. And you're just like,
It's like it doesn't take a lot to explain to a child like what is what. Like I'll never forget. I was trying to explain to my little nephew. He asked me why is Lil Nas pregnant. It took 5 seconds to explain that because in a promotional video he was
he wants
pregnant
to be.
and just doesn't, like it's not as bad as it seems to explain to a child what is what. So I feel like they shouldn't change the rating at all. Just explain to the child. It takes 5 seconds. They're not as dumb as we make them out to be. Children are kind of.
Or even then, I just feel like
I feel.
A lot of people see children as like this thing that doesn't
Like really
understand
people
complex
creatures,
ideas,
and
but
have
like
to keep things
they
down.
do. They really do. They're a lot smarter than we give them credit, or than people give them credit for.
Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like the whole PG thing that's just a warning that it's up to you. Like it's up to the parents.
and even
Like,
then, I
that's
just feel
it.
like worst comes to worst, just say exactly what they like
Right.
the owners themselves give them the range and say like, all right, this is exactly what we mean, and here are the exact guidelines, cutoffs, whatever.
You know what I'm saying?
Because most people may not know what it is.
I'm what I'm seeing in specifically within like, I guess I'm seeing a shift in award shows with like what's performed in the costumes.
The shift is just by what's wanted though, so it's just like
That's what I'm saying. It's like
that's not what you said.
well, I'm saying is that like the guidelines are shifting as well. Like
As they should.
Do you not see the
Because you couldn't have, I mean, like, back then you couldn't have two people sleeping in the same bed together. It used to be in separate beds, and that used to be considered TVPG, but now you can have people fully, like in the Proud Family trailer, it was it was implied sex between Trudy and Oscar, and that's still TVPG. Like, well, if you've seen the trailer, there's a moment where they like make out and then they
were like,
do a little spin.
What were y'all doing?
And then it's
Their
like,
clothes were all, like,
so it's
messed
like,
up,
it's like, of course the guidelines change because time changes. Like, if you expect things to be like how they were 10 years ago, well then, God forbid, people can't dance how they do now. So it's like,
I mean, but dancing and inappropriate activities, I think are like two different things.
but dancing has evolved as well. Twerking wasn't as popular, and that is a dance. If you don't call it a dance, I feel like then that's kind of messed up. Like, it is a dance form. It's something that people do now. And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you couldn't be able to do that.
Right.
So like,
You have to monitor
time changes, you know.
how you run.
And back then, Lil Nas would never have the platform that he's doing now if things were the same guidelines back then as well.
But I think
also, like,
I think a lot of people. I don't know.
Obviously, but like if he was 20 back
I
then,
hope so. I hope not 10 years old throwing it back.
he probably was. He was a barb. You know, he was going on.
It was a period.
I hope not. Just clarify. We hope no 10-year-old is doing any adult activities. But I do think back then there. And speaking about culture, right, and art, right, with things that are more adult or more explicit, even in terms of interpretation, right? Not just be explicit as in like, oh, it's vividly nudity, right? But implied nudity or implied things.
That's everywhere.
And I've seen a shift in terms of shows, cartoons, even artists, right? When they would have a record, I think a lot of it has to do with the internet. I think back then you had to honestly be of a certain age to get certain content. You had to be of a certain
typically age to get like past like a firewall type of thing. But I mean, kind of as Stanley said, it was typically because everything was basically made so taboo because everyone was just like scared, like, oh my gosh, like, but if we sprinkle in a bit, everyone's gonna go insane. But it's just like,
I feel like
but like, let's outside the taboo in terms of like for the rational sense, right? For the rational, like in terms of restrictions because you don't want people to do certain things, right? Just because of just sheer mishaps and what people can access and what they can't see. I do remember. I think there was more restrictions in like I feel like there should have been restrictions in a like respectful way. No, not saying that's taboo, not the hyperbolic. Oh,
so you're saying that there should be more restrictions today to limit.
Yeah, on platforms where it's like everyone's accepted.
But what does that mean though? That's my thing. Like,
is that
that's
not
just
counterintuitive?
So, that's everyone's accepted, but you can't. We don't accept that though. Like I feel like what platform? Like if you're
specifically where there are
marketing towards kids, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I feel like no one on the Nickelodeon Awards is throwing ass. Like I feel
That's what I'm saying. But even then, the Nickelodeon Awards, people like.
But no one's throwing butt at the Nickelodeon Awards. Like that's what I'm trying to say is like.
There'll be some questionable activity, especially now on Nickelodeon.
Like what? Like I remember the last thing in the Nickelodeon Awards. Miley Cyrus was not in the Nickelodeon Awards though. She like each attended platform. Like the heads of these platforms do not want to lose money. They're not dumb enough to put something explicit in a. This is the key word. In an award show targeted towards children. They wouldn't do that. Now, if you're talking about the MTV, the Oscars, the Grammys, etc., they can do whatever they want. And if you have a problem with that restriction, I feel like that has to do with yourself than the actual platforms themselves. Because the platforms can rightfully, at that point, they're not marketed towards kids. They're marketed towards adults. The Grammys, definitely, all these shows, they're marketed towards adults. If you want to talk about the Cartoon Network Awards, the Nickelodeon Awards, then we can have a discussion. But even then, like, how limiting do we want to be in that? Like, of course we don't want to throw nudity, but to what extent do you want to limit the freedom of the artist? You know, and I don't think no artist in the rightful mind would, like I said, throw butt on a children's awards show.
Pull out the chopper.
Or pull out the chop. Like I would be surprised if NBA YoungBoy popped out with some green slime on the neck. Like what? Like you see what I'm saying? Like,
slime shoe.
yeah. He's like, this is the real slime language. Like this is the real slime. But it's like, you see, my thing is just like, if there's an issue with the thing, then you can't. It's not the platform's fault because they're not marketing towards children. All right, it's up to the parent to talk to the child about what is okay and what is not okay to be viewed. It's not the platform's fault. It's not the artist's fault. It's not their responsibility. If we're talking about something that's targeted towards children, then that's fine. We can have that discussion. But if we're talking about like MTV, Oscars, Grammys, they can do whatever they want because they're marketed towards adults, and adults know best. At that point, what is it? Hold on, wait, hold on.
Better.
Adults know better to what is appropriate for a TV PG audience or whatever, like whatever that means by the standards set by the American FCC, whatever, like whoever the broadcasting industry, like they know what's up. So, yeah, I just think that's
and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like, honestly, I don't know. I just feel like, bro, if you're the owner and you know what this person does. You know what you know what they've done. You probably know what they're trying to do. So it's just like, you already know. You know what I'm saying? Like you literally already know the vibe. But honestly, I think it's funny how you mentioned the thing about Lil Nas X, like how he started off in a certain palatable way, and then like, you know how we were talking about how he didn't receive the consistent love after people were to find out more things about him, whether that was just things about his nature and then like even behavior, which I guess is a bit more
and his behavior is kind of clean though. I ain't gonna hold you. He's not like he's just gay. Like just truly that's like he's like in the sense of like he's a good, like he hasn't done anything scandalous at all. So
I think a lot of people could argue that he can be what's it
dragged
called?
what?
Like
First of all,
like
he
the
put
Montero
blood in
video
his
to be
shoe.
a video like
Okay, and
inflammatory.
all right, so and they put holy water in one of the sneakers. Isn't that like, you know, sacrilegious?
I mean, it was more so. Okay, so when it came to like the video and then the shoe, it's like I get it because he was like, okay, when y'all tell gay people to go to hell, they would go to hell. It's kind of like it's like but it's like, huh?
It's a location, so I don't know.
Do I edit that out?
I mean, there's a Hell's Kitchen, so would you edit that out and just say
You
kitchen?
might be fine.
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we'll see YouTube.
Please don't fire us. Please don't demonetize us.
Please don't fire us. But it's like it just kind of had a different take, and I feel like that's what kind of brought about all the Why are you looking at me?
Because I'm trying to understand, like,
It's like, okay.
I think it's reasonable to have reservations against someone
Yeah,
dancing down to hell.
right, but
I don't know. I think it's pretty reasonable to say like, wow, that was a bit much for me. I remember when I first saw it, I was just like, yikes.
And then it's just like the devil, and then the action is just like
and throwing it back on the devil. Like I don't know. I know I didn't receive that well. You know, I didn't think. I'm not gonna say, oh my gosh, this guy's the Antichrist. But
I feel like that's how most people were treating him, and that's why I'm so apprehensive when people are like, because they were like, hey, yo, this boy is a Satan worshiper. All gays are like.
That's why I'm not even trying to go into the extreme. That's why I'm just trying to say like, you know,
like not saying you're hyperbolic extreme.
Yeah. Like I'm trying even to avoid any type of like exaggerated type of claim or anything. I was just saying like honestly, I think there were. That's what I even said. Like there were some things that were about him that people off rip were very like, you know, what's the word?
Unaccepting of?
Like intolerable for, which I don't even agree with. Like literally, a lot of people were just like, oh, he's black and gay. Like, oh my gosh, I can't support him.
right, like
come on,
okay,
now, grow up.
like-
But it's just like, but there were some things I was just like, maybe I'm not like I don't really like. I do not enjoy consuming that content, and of course, then I just don't consume the content.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But even beyond that, I just find it interesting, like how like even in some forms where it's just like more reasonable than others, like many times how we see like a lot of like black creators are kind of get like pushed into a very specific box. Like even though I know like how you mentioned like, oh, you know, you kind of saw him one way and then he started doing a lot of things, and you know, obviously you said he wasn't bad, and of course that's understandable.
Right.
But like how we see like sometimes it's like any time just kind of like a branch out. No, they're not really given like the same love, and then not only that, but it's just like they're then almost kind of like forced back into the box. Like I remember, like I think we were talking about what's it called, Tyler the Creator.
Oh yeah.
Right, and I think
he was always a
Igor
branch.
album, right?
Yeah.
And it was just
not
like,
a rap album
it wasn't
at
even
all.
a rap album.
One rap album of the
But
year though.
one
verse out of like 12 tracks. Hey, yo, that was the one.
But
that was
that's
the
not-
one. New
you
Magic
see what
Wand.
I'm
That's the
saying?
one that
and
won.
it's just like I find it so weird how it's just like just from like history, it's like yo, go like find your own space, and then people kind of like find their own space, but then like
it was way better rap album.
What?
Just Flower Boy.
Oh, yeah, Flower Boy was more of a rap album than that, but like Eagle was truly not a rap album at all.
And they got no credit.
Exactly, and it's really crazy because like,
Nominated.
like I was
I think
saying,
it lost to someone, though.
we get pushed to our own ways, like our like own things to do, and then we kind of do that. But of course, we may see other things that we like, and that's just part of the human experience. Like I can see a white guy doing something like, hey, you know what? Maybe hockey is fun, right? And it's just like, but then it's like the moment they play, like imagine going to your school for hockey trials, you'd be like, son, this is the basketball court. Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm in the gear. I got the hockey stick. Let me play. You know what I'm saying?
I played lacrosse, and it was like, oh, you playing a white sport, and I was like,
That makes no sense
If you
to
know
me.
your history, it's actually a Native American sport, but thanks you for proving that point. And it's like, they're like, oh, he's a white boy, and it's like, it's so weird the critiques and how people will literally just bash you, just out of pure ignorance. And then two, let's say I'm on that premise. Let's say it is a white sport. Okay, and like
exactly. And imagine if they said, oh. We have the lacrosse team, and then we have the black guy that's here who's just here for the giggles. We don't know why he's here.
The,
Like, yo,
the
come
lacrosse
on,
team in the 15th man. You know,
I have a question.
oh,
Are you
man.
trying to like cover yourself? with
I'm
the
really
table?
cold. It's kind of cold. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, it's just kind of burr in here.
It's kind of
He forgot the heater.
Yeah,
I
it's
usually like me and my guests are usually warm because we have the heater.
Yeah,
under
no,
our
it's just
legs.
type chilly. That's all.
They're
That's why
forever cold. Like I don't know what's
I
wrong
just
with
put my
them.
scarf around my hands.
Yeah, I put my hand under my thighs.
See, I don't have a lot of that. So.
Sad. Then you're tall, so you have a gap anyway. It doesn't. I just. It's sad. I'm just the shortest person.
Yeah, because Stan's like 6'5". That's
I can tell by the way his like. Look at my knees and look at. It's over.
I mean, I'm wearing docks as well, so it doesn't help the case. But
It's okay. I'm just gonna like when we stand up. I'm gonna stand over here and you're gonna be over there, so I don't have to look up.
no,
at you.
definitely.
There we go.
good, bad. You know what? So yeah, this is great. But you know, it's kind of towards wrapping it up. Like I just kind of want to know how y'all feel real quick about like. I don't even know how to explain this properly, but like when we talk about like people who, let's say, try to enter the space, right? Because a lot of people, like, you know, obviously Twitter, TikTok, whatever it may be, they like to go back and forth about, you know, gatekeeping and like how like receptive people are of being like entered into spaces, especially like in these cases, like let's say like Black culture spaces, right? And like just for you good?
Sorry about that.
You're not supposed to. Like for a little quick endo, like I've noticed like throughout my life that like let's say it's like a group of predominantly Black people and like a white person join in. In my experience, I've noticed like where it's just like it's a lot more reception, like a lot more inviting. You know, it's like hey,
From the Black people towards the white.
yeah, it's just like hey, you like something that we do, pull up, broski.
Make it vice versa though. It's a problem.
Yeah, but I've noticed that like
I have opposite experience. Me personally,
Obvious experience.
opposite experience.
Well, yeah, but for most, it's not
Like,
as welcoming.
I don't even know if we can even really say most though.
I mean,
at least more so we hear at least.
more so from hearsay, it truly the opposite isn't as because you might be the exception to the rule, and because coming from a predominantly white high school, white spaces weren't accepting. You just felt like the odd man out. But if it was like a black, if it's like how we are now, like a Black group, and we had a white friend, we would obviously welcome that friend with open arms. But if I was the Black friend in a white group, it was almost like Stanley's at a distance, but we acknowledge him. But he's like,
So it's like, gonna know. It's like many times it's almost just like if you want to be a part of it, it's kind of just like at best half the time, like a lot of time, at least from what I've heard, it's just like at best it's like a okay.
it's like, oh,
not
he's
even
joining us.
not even come inside, have a burger, make yourself at home. It's just okay, you're here.
You kind of.
They give you that little lip thing. They give you the lip.
That they
You
barely
know,
have.
so I think my favorite thing about that sounds bad. Well, no, my favorite thing about wearing masks. Now I don't want to say about my favorite thing about like wearing masks is that like when I go to Walmart, I used to go to Walmart when I was like I want to say younger, but at this point it's like almost 2 or 3 years. And like I remember like people would look at me every time. And I was just like,
it's the lip. It's the iconic lip. I see. It's the head nod, but for white people, it's the lip.
And I remember there was like a whole thing that made me be like, yo, what does that mean?
It's almost like they acknowledge you. They acknowledge you in the space, but it's just like it's not a welcoming, but an acknowledgement.
Yeah, someone said, we do that because like we don't know what to say. We don't know what to say. Like what's
We're just
up?
like,
if that's too much, or if we say hi, how are you? Go for a handshake. So we just.
Nah, it's weird. Like for me personally, like I grew up in like, predominantly like black and Hispanic spaces, and it's like there's always like that one white guy, and it's like it's weird because like I remember me being called too white, and like they was like I was pretty much getting ostracized for just being in a circle because I'm not even a fan of basketball, I'm not a fan of like other things. And I'd say that that's like a common trope, but what I've experienced that they're like, oh, you don't watch this, you don't watch this, you don't do this, like you look like you don't watch anime, you read. I remember seeing you read. Can't with us. I'm just like,
Now that's hilarious. Hey, yo, that's a roast. Hey, yo, this guy reads,
This
bro.
guy
Hey, yo,
reads.
what a loser, fam. Hey, yo,
Exactly.
homie has 20/20 vision. He reads, bro.
and I was like, bro, and it's like, but I remember seeing a white guy walk into the same group, like I guess like a week later, and he was like, yo, what's up, bro? I was like, what's up, bro? What? Like,
Not a bro.
I just think he might have more in common with them than you do with them. He just might like basketball and watch anime, and you just like to read.
which is true, but I'm getting called the white guy.
Yeah.
Like, listen, totally
He takes
cool.
his name and everything. Oh, yo, it's Richard. Not that one, the other one. The one we like.
And it was like, bro,
I feel like, well, 9 times out of 10 being that I guess it's a white people's sport, it's more accepted that he's white, but it's like with you, it's kind of like,
They're like, hey, yo, Todd likes lacrosse. Oh, that's Todd. You know,
right.
that's Todd.
It's more understandable.
But Richard likes lacrosse. Hey, yo,
whoa.
white guy, you know.
Like, whoa, here.
What you mean you don't like LeBron? You know? Who's Cristiano Ronaldo? Get out of here.
I don't know.
Yo, that was actually crazy because I actually look at a similar experience like that. Because like when I went into high school, like I had a full soccer background. Like every year I played, like since I could like really walk, was filled with soccer. Pulled up to school and he was like, "Yo, you play basketball, right?" And I'm like, "Ah, what you mean by that?" Because it's crazy because when I started high school,
And the fact that you were black,
bro,
it was like,
when I was in high school though, I started high school as 5'2". It was pretty sad. I know. 5'2". I wasn't even like tall or anything. I ain't look
and
athletic.
he's like what, 5'12" now?
And I am 5'12" now.
and I'm the 5'2".
And it's just like I remember like there were like literally multiple people be like, "Yo, you play basketball, don't you?" And I'm like, "Nah, actually." Because honestly, at that point, I didn't know anything about like like what we call like microaggressions or anything like that, or like any type of assumptions. So I was just like, "Nah." I started getting into it like 7th grade.
You're like
That's
5'2".
about it.
Yeah, and it
But that's
doesn't make
about it.
sense. You're just like, you're sure you're unathletic, but you're just black, and that's all. It's like that episode in Everybody Hates Chris where Chris threw trash in the garbage can, and his coach saw Dr. Dre going like this. Like, you're just being black, but to them, you're C.J. McCollum. Like, just like, you know what? I see the potential. Draft him now. Draft him. You know they're fast like that, and that's all they thought.
Nah, for real. But yeah, but it's just like overall though, like how do y'all feel about like because like when people talk about like like the whole gatekeep thing, like in terms of like, because I mean I'm gonna go off the assumption first off that like we're not gonna be like hard gatekeepers that be like, oh, if we popularize this, no one else dare enter, right? But just like how do you think that like it should be managed when people want to enter space? Like I know for example you talked about paying homage, just to be like, yo, I understand that I'm entering a certain space, and I want to know that, yo, I hear because I genuinely like this, I want to respect it, etc.
I feel like to an extent it makes sense, but most of the time when you're gatekeeping, it's kind of dumb. Like when it's like of someone's cultural, like it's a cultural thing due to their ethnic background. Like for example, it's like a Polynesian culture and those dances that they do, right? So it's like a tribal thing. And if someone wants to like do it, but they're not part of that said culture, you truly like, it's okay if those people want to keep it to themselves because it's a tradition. And if you want to partake in that dance, you would have to truly, talk to them, see if they allow you in that. But if it's like gatekeeping with this new A$AP Rocky album, like you're kind of a fool in my eyes. Like there's times where gatekeeping makes sense and when it doesn't. And I feel like most of the time people take it to the extreme where they're gatekeeping things where they shouldn't. Like again, like music artists. Why are you gatekeeping an artist? A clothing brand? I hate when people would be like, "Hey yo, I like your shirt." Yeah, bro. Where you got it? Man, I don't even want to give it out like that, cause and it's all just like
As if
fucking
you got paid.
Goodwill, and it's just like, yo, bro, you got it from the thrift bin. Like, it's all right to say that, like, but don't pretend like it's this thing that no one else is allowed to know. If it's a cultural thing that is important to the people around you, then all right, you know.
I feel that.
Keep it to your chest.
I feel like,
but if
right,
it's,
But you can
it's
also
really
it's
like
the new
preservation.
Tyler album.
Yeah, it's like preservation versus just trying to be like of elite status. Basically.
Exactly, and most people treat it as like an elite thing. Like, yeah, I'm gatekeeping to keep it to my people, but like your people is everyone, you know. So it's,
I feel that.
you're not cool now because you know who Tyler is. It's not as what it was in 2012. Come on now, move on.
Me personally, I think it's specifically within like I guess areas of there's already clear I guess history for them like rap and other music. Personally, I feel like there has to be a certain level of like research and like respect. Like I feel like every black person should just know about black history. Like just in terms of like anything that's like black related. That's me personally. I feel like there should be a certain level of acumen where you know common facts among certain things, specifically within rap. Me personally, I love rap. I love the culture, and you know my mom knows rap, and like I talked to her, and like she taught me, and just like we like in my family, like it's like lineage of like respect for the culture and knowing rappers' names. Even when we not know names, we put a song on, we can spit it verbatim, you know. And I think a lot of people like. And not only for that, but if you're gonna push it forward, I think you have to also push the narrative forward as well. I feel like too often time people are like, okay, I'm continuing this by putting my own spin on it. But it's like, okay, well, but if you're putting a spin on it, and you can't identify or what's the word, communicate, and show where that line goes forward, how you pushing it forward?
Yeah,
Right? You're just throwing something at a timeline, but not actually saying where it progresses.
It reminds me of this moment where this girl on TikTok took an Aaliyah song and like claimed it as her own without like. So this girl, like talking about paying your respects, you know, she made a cover of an Aaliyah song. I forgot what it was, and she sang it. And it blew up, and she didn't give no credit to it. It's a cover, no
She
credit to
made a
Aaliyah.
whole video
about it.
and everything.
And then when Black TikTok got it, they ate her up. They were like, "Hey, what you mean? Yo, you better put that." And then she like took it down and put it back up as cover Aaliyah. But like, it's just things like that. You have to pay your respect.
Or even like
And
Wild
she did
Side.
it word for word.
Like
though.
Wild Side,
that's
like
what killed me.
a lot of people don't know, but I forgot who made the beat. Some who worked with Aaliyah, but like I feel like for black people,
It was a
'cause-
sample of the 1 in a million thing.
No, it wasn't that. It's a million like songs. I forgot the producer with Aaliyah, but like for black people, because our history is so taken from us, specifically within Western, right? Even Eastern, but maybe specifically I'm talking about Western cultures, as with black African diasporic Western cultures. I feel like we really, because I'm not gonna talk about people because, look, man, I don't really have reservations or just like I'm gonna talk about who I care about as a primary focus for my dialogue. We really gotta do our due diligence to just upkeep the culture and upkeep the past and hold the history and then push it forward. Like no one's saying, yo, you're doing this, that's beautiful, but can you please name who came before you? And
Like, acknowledge it.
now, I'm not saying, oh, every single song do this. I'm saying like, yo, at least one document, one thing like, yo, I did
Post
this.
about it type thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying like, oh, create your whole life and be
Or an interview.
with your freaking your Kumo D hat or Velvet DeVoe and wear jumpsuits, but like, you know, that's all I'm saying. Like, just at least acknowledgement. And by acknowledgement, this is just one event.
I like how, I'm not gonna lie, in terms of like art, I love how Zendaya does it, like in terms of like her outfits. Like when she's giving respect to like a certain artist or like to a movie or something, she shows that in her outfits. Like she gives that representation. I'd be like, that's fire. Like,
Like yeah, you can see like what she's like what she's a part of, what she's referencing, like
yeah,
in, like, what she
and
yeah.
she doesn't have to say anything and we get it, you know. Like I love that. Like in things like that, I think that's beautiful.
Zendaya's the gold standard.
She is,
She's truly amazing.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I
Do y'all serious question?
Yeah.
I feel like I know y'all answers, but I don't want to answer it for y'all. Like I actually don't want y'all to say it. Do y'all consider fashion art?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I thought.
I'm a fly guy over here.
You are. You definitely are.
I was actually gonna say like what she was wearing was art, and now I was actually gonna say like, yo, that's why even clothing is like a big part of like and how he expresses like a form of art.
Like I saw the Spider-Man dress.
Yeah, it was a really good dress.
That was fire.
Oh, that was fire.
A lot of people, if they try to do like a Spider-Man inspired like suit for the red carpet, it would look cheesy, but she made it look very well.
Yeah,
So it
very
worked.
chic.
Yeah.
She did that. Shout out to whoever the
Designed
designer
it.
is. Yeah.
But yeah, art, fashion is a very much so an art form. Like Virgil Abloh, rest in peace. He was an artist, and to everyone has their own opinion about his art. I don't have the highest, take on his art, but at the end of the day, it was art. His fashion was different. His fashion was unique.
Yeah.
Again, it's like a medium like anything else. It's an expression of the individual onto something. And a lot of black fashion, I think, is amazing.
Yeah. He definitely put a different spin on sneakers.
Yeah. Calling it like sneaker or like air, and like a shirt called it shirt. But I feel like it's intentional. I like most of the work I did like was when he wasn't doing the label stuff. Like he did a Swiss cheese sneaker. Like I think it was very unique. Like I like art that's
that.
Yeah, it had holes in it, and like he had a bag that had holes in it. I like art that like tries to do something different. Like, humans been here for like 100,000 years, and like to do something different is like so awesome. He made a butt like a Benz, but like all pure white, and it's just amazing. I like the art that he did that didn't just have the name.
Yeah, being able to see people's creativity.
And can we? I feel like Club Noir, like people. Can we? Like I like how you said, like some things you like, some like. Can we not like things without belittling it? Like, I feel like too often times people try to like, I guess, throw jabs on something they don't like, and it's like, it's okay to not like something. But say like, oh, it sucks, or it's like that's trash, or it's like, oh, this it has no talent, and it's like,
like that's dope. It just
or it could be like, it's not what I like.
It's not. Oh yeah, it's just not for me. Yeah.
I don't like it. Like I feel like we should be able to just specifically within black art, being that a lot of it, black art we got to be courageous because we're black. On top of its art, expression in itself is such a hard thing to just admit and express. Just one moment, y'all. Sorry. All right, we are back. Part of the audio discrepancies. There's a contractor here. I will spell it right this time. But yeah, we back. You gonna wrap it up, Jimmy?
Yeah. Wowzers. Great discussion. This was good. First and foremost, glad to have you here, brother.
Yes, this conversation was great.
This is.
I have to clap for you. I
Enthralling.
don't clap for everybody.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. If she doesn't give that award out to everyone.
I appreciate it, genuine.
Yo, if y'all want to know Stand Up Man's app, it's gonna be in our captions. It's gonna be the description, all that good stuff.
You don't have to follow me, surely. You don't. When I'm mayor of New York, I would appreciate your vote, though. That's the plan in 10 years, so get ready for that, New York.
Anything else you want to plug?
Actually, I do. Actually, I have my friend's music I want to give a shout out to. It's Brookland. His name is Black Christ, and he's making a collection of artists from Brooklyn. So if you get a chance, look up Brookland. It's really dope.
Send me that.
Yeah, I will.
It'll be in the description below.
We're gonna have a lot of links in this description.
As we should.
As we
We
should.
here to show
Ready.
love. You know what I'm saying? Yo, thank y'all so much for tuning in.
knocked out
Thank
two
y'all
black
for all the
people out of that
support that
space.
y'all been showing lately. It means the absolute world to us. Yeah, stay tuned for the next episode, yo. We gotta, we gonna keep having some good stuff for y'all,
It's
yo.
gonna be lit.
Yeah, thank y'all. Have a good day.
All right.
Success.